The storm outside howled like a wounded beast, rattling the old wooden cabin. Inside, two strangers, one a guarded CEO, the other a struggling single father, sat inches apart, shivering. Then she whispered the last thing he expected. "See, can I slip under your blanket? I can't feel my hands anymore." He froze. If only she knew the truth. That this wasn't supposed to be his cabin, or his night, or his moment at all. White medium star. The story begins. Ethan Ward had planned only one simple thing that evening: drive up the mountain to deliver some repair tools to his cousin's cabin and return home before his daughter's bedtime. But life, as always, had other plans for him. He was a single dad, raising his 7-year-old daughter, Lily, on whatever he earned from odd repair jobs around town. He never complained. He believed kindness and hard work still meant something, even when the world seemed too busy to notice. But tonight, as the snow thickened and the wind grew sharp, he realized he had made a terrible mistake. The old truck sputtered halfway up the trail, coughed smoke, and died. "No, not now," he groaned, tapping the steering wheel. He checked his phone, no signal. The cold was already creeping through his jacket. He had only one choice: the small mountainside cabin ahead, light glowing faintly through the frosted windows. He walked through the storm, boots sinking deep into the snow, until he reached the door. He knocked, fully expecting no one to answer. But someone did. A woman. A breathtaking woman. She had dark hair tied back loosely, cheeks flushed red from the cold, and eyes that held a strange mixture of exhaustion and sharp intelligence. "See, can I help you?" she asked, wrapping her arms around herself as the wind whipped behind him. I'm sorry. My truck died. I just need to wait out the storm." "I won't bother you," Ethan said. The woman hesitated only a moment. Then she pulled the door wider. "Come in. You'll freeze out there." Inside, the cabin was warm but dim. A single lantern flickered on the table. A fire crackled, small but steady. "I'm Ethan," he said, rubbing his hands together. She gave a tiny nod. "Celeste." Just Celeste. He didn't ask more. But something about her posture, the tension in her shoulders, the way she kept glancing at her phone, told him she was not here for leisure. "Thank you," he said softly. "You probably saved my life." She gave him a half smile. "Maybe you saved mine." Those words made him look up. But she turned away, adding another log to the fire. White medium star. The storm traps them. Minutes stretched into an hour. The storm outside intensified until the wind shook the cabin violently. Snow piled high against the door, almost burying them inside. Ethan checked the window. "This storm, it's not going to pass quickly." Celeste swallowed hard. "I know. You expected it?" he asked. "No," she said, voice trembling. "But I should have." Something about her reaction felt deeper, heavier, painful. Ethan didn't pry. Instead, he spread out his blanket, an old, worn thing he always kept in his truck. "You can take the bed," he offered. "I'll sleep on the floor." Celeste shook her head quickly. No, I'll take the floor." "You're shivering," he pointed out. "I'm fine," she insisted. She wasn't. A gust of icy wind seeped through the window, and she flinched, curling into herself. Ethan sighed and sat closer to the small fire. "At least sit by the warmth." She hesitated but eventually slid a few inches toward him. The silence between them wasn't awkward. It was fragile. Like two souls carrying secrets too heavy to name. White medium star. The moment that changed everything. Hours later, the fire began to die again. Ethan wrapped his blanket around himself and leaned against the wall, stretching his tired legs. That's when Celeste's voice broke the quiet. "Ethan?" He looked up. She was trembling badly, her hands shaking like leaves. "Yes." Her voice cracked with vulnerability he'd never heard before. "See, can I slip under your blanket? Just till the fire picks up again." "I'm freezing." He blinked, taken by surprise. Not because she asked, but because she said it with shame. Like she was apologizing for needing warmth. He lifted the blanket immediately. "Of course. Come here." She crawled under, trying hard not to touch him, but a moment later, she gasped softly as warmth finally reached her. "Thank you," she whispered, voice nearly breaking. "I haven't felt safe in a long time." "Safe." He repeated the words silently. "I'm glad you feel safe," Ethan said quietly. "No one deserves to feel alone in a storm." Celeste let out a shaky breath. "I wasn't supposed to be alone. I was supposed to meet someone." "A date," he guessed. She nodded. "Blind date. I hoped maybe I'd find someone who didn't see my life as complicated." "And he didn't show up?" Ethan asked gently. "No." Her voice trembled. "He sent a message saying something came up. Something always comes up when they find out who I am." Ethan frowned. "Who are you?" She bit her lip, hesitating. Then finally, "Celeste Norwood." He froze. The name echoed in his mind. The CEO. The billionaire everyone in town whispered about. The woman whose company had built half the state. And the woman sitting beside him now looked nothing like the ruthless business giant people described. Just a lonely, tired soul seeking warmth in a storm. Ethan swallowed. "And you think being a CEO makes your life complicated?" "No," she whispered. "Being a CEO makes people pretend. It makes kindness feel extinct." Ethan shook his head. "Not tonight. Not here." When she looked up at him, eyes shimmering, he knew. She wasn't asking for romance. She wasn't asking for comfort. She was asking not to be invisible, and he gave her what she needed most. The storm did not ease until deep into the night. By then, the fire was little more than a low amber glow, and Celeste, shivering despite her effort to remain composed, leaned unconsciously closer to Ethan under the blanket. Her head rested lightly against a shoulder. Her breathing steadied. Her guard lowered in a way she had not allowed in years. Ethan stayed still, not daring to disturb the fragile calm she had finally found. He had no idea that for women like Celeste, silence was rare. Peace was rarer. And trust nearly non-existent. White medium star knock on the door, the one neither expected. Just as the fire flickered dangerously low, a heavy knock boomed against the cabin door. Celeste jerked awake, eyes wide with fear. Not surprise, not annoyance, fear. Ethan rose instantly. "Are you expecting someone?" "No," she whispered, voice breaking. "No one should know I'm here." The knock came again, harder. This time a voice followed. "Ms. Norwood? Are you inside?" Ethan exhaled. "Your security team?" Celeste shook her head slowly. "No." "That's not their voice." Ethan moved protectively in front of her and opened the door slightly. A tall man in a long black coat stood under the snow. His eyes were sharp, desperate, almost frantic. "Celeste," he breathed in relief when he saw her. "Thank God. You ran out of the gala. No one knew where you were." She froze. "Leon." Ethan didn't miss the way her shoulders tensed. Leon stepped inside without waiting for an invitation. He scanned Ethan from head to toe, openly assessing him. "So," Leon said slowly, "you've found company." Celeste stood. "Leon, stop. It's not what you think." "No," he snapped. "You disappear from your own event, your fundraiser, Celeste, and end up in a cabin with a stranger while a blizzard nearly buries the region?" Ethan lifted his chin calmly. "I'm not her problem. My truck broke down. She was kind enough to let me in." Leon ignored him entirely. "Celeste, you have shareholders questioning your stability. You have family wondering if you're even capable of running the empire your father left you." "Leon," she snapped, trembling. "Not here. Not now." But Leon wasn't finished. "You're hiding, Celeste. Again. And you're doing it with a man you don't even know." White medium star, the truth finally breaks through. Celeste pressed her palms to her temples. "Leon, I am not hiding. Her voice cracked. "I just needed a moment to breathe." Ethan watched quietly. She wasn't the powerful CEO who controlled boardrooms and built skyscrapers. She wasn't the billionaire whose signature could swing markets. She was a woman suffocating under expectation. Leon turned to Ethan coldly. "You should go before you create more trouble." People like you don't understand her world. Ethan's jaw tightened, but he didn't lash out.
He looked at Celeste.
Is that what you think too? Her eyes filled instantly.
No.
No, Ethan, But Leon cut her off. She doesn't belong in your world, and you don't belong in hers. And that was the moment Ethan made his decision. He reached for his jacket. Ethan, wait, Celeste pleaded. He sighed softly. You have a whole world waiting for you. I get it. I don't belong in it. But tonight, I thought we were just two people in a storm, helping each other survive. Her lips parted, trembling. That's exactly what we were. Then let me leave before your world punishes you for being human. He walked toward the door. But before he could reach it, Lily, his daughter's voice echoed in his mind. He turned sharply. The world spun. He stumbled, gripping the wall. Celeste ran to him. Ethan? Ethan, what's wrong? I'm fine, he managed. But he wasn't. Hours of cold exposure, dehydration, and exhaustion were finally catching up. He collapsed. White medium star, the CEO, who never learned kindness until tonight. Move, Celeste ordered, pushing past Leon. She knelt beside Ethan, checking his pulse with quick, trained hands. He's hypothermic, she whispered. We can't let him leave. Leon hesitated.
Fine.
We'll call an emergency team.
No, she snapped.
I will take care of him. You call your driver, and then go. Leon stiffened. You're choosing him over your responsibilities? I'm choosing kindness, she said firmly. Something you and the world seem to have forgotten. Leon left silently. Celeste stayed. She wrapped Ethan in the blanket, boiled water for warm compresses, and sat beside him until his breathing steadied. When he finally opened his eyes, she whispered, You helped me survive my storm tonight. Let me help you survive yours. White medium star, the real twist, unseen and unexpected. The next morning, the storm had cleared. Sunlight spilled into the cabin. Ethan sat up slowly. Celeste stood at the window, looking almost peaceful. Are you okay? She asked, turning toward him. He nodded weakly. Thank you for staying. Her lips curved in a small, emotional smile. Then she walked toward him and placed something in his hand. A business card. But not ordinary. It had no phone number, no company title, just 2 words written in soft ink. For the next storm. Ethan stared, confused. Celeste brushed his hand gently. I don't need a CEO, she whispered. I don't need someone rich. I need someone who keeps me warm when the world turns cold. He swallowed. And what do you need from me? She smiled tearfully. Just a chance. White medium star, moral of the story. Sometimes, the storms we fear most lead us to the people we need most. And kindness, the simple human kind, can cross worlds that wealth never could.